Lesson 3-3, Solving Multiplication Equations. By the end of this lesson, you're going to be able to solve multiplication equations. I'm going to show you one way in how to solve multiplication equations and one set of questions to ask yourself as you're solving them. There are many other ways to do them, but they all end up getting the same answers in the end. The method that I'm going to show you today is the method that I found has been the most successful with students, and it's also the same method that I showed in lesson 3-2 on solving addition and subtraction equations. There is one vocabulary word today, formula, and we'll get to that later on in the last problem about a tortoise. So I've written these 3 questions that you ask yourself in order to solve equations. The first question is, what number is on the same side of the equal sign as the variable? What operation is going on with that number and what is its opposite? And what number are you going to add, subtract, multiply, and divide from each side? The answers that you get to questions 1 and 2 help you decide this final step for part 3, and that ultimately is what you do with the equation. So let me show you how this works. Here's our equation, 20 equals 4x. Remember, this is actually multiplication, even though there isn't an operation sign between it. Whenever you don't see an operation sign, it's multiplication. So here we're multiplying 4 times x. So the first question is, what number is on the same side of the equal sign as the variable? So if I look here, I find the variable right here, and the number that's on the same side of the equal sign as this variable is 4. So the answer to question number 1 is 4. Question number 2, what operation is going on with that number, and what is its opposite? Well, multiplication is going on with this 4, and the opposite of multiplication is division. Just like addition and subtraction are opposites, multiplication and division are opposites. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So the last question, what number are you going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide from each side? The answers that we get to questions 1 and 2 are what tell us the answer to this one. So you're going to divide, because that's the opposite operation, 4 from both sides. And here's how you can show division. So if I just draw a line like this and put a 4 underneath it, even though I'm guessing you think that this looks like a fraction, that fraction bar means division. And whatever I do to one side of the equal sign, you have to do to the other side of the equal sign. So I'm dividing both sides by 4. Well, 4 divided by 4 is 1, so that means these are canceled out. The only thing that we have on this side of the equal sign now is the x, and now we just need to figure out what's 20 divided by 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5. And if you wanted to go back and check this problem, anywhere where you saw x, you could now substitute 5 in the original equation. So the original equation is 20 equals 4x, so that means I could go 20 equals 4 times 5. Remember, parentheses is another way that you can write multiplication. Now I'm going to do the math. 4 times 5 is 20, and I'm going to bring all this down. And 20 is equal to 20. That's a true statement. So that means that our answer right here that we got for x is the correct solution to the problem. In this equation, 5 does really equal x. Let's try a couple more problems. Again, we have the same 3 questions, and our equation this time is negative 8y equals 24. So the first question is, what number is on the same side of the equal sign as the variable? Negative 8 is on the same side. What operation is going on with that number and what is its opposite? Well, since there isn't an operation sign between the negative 8 and the y, I know that's multiplication. And the opposite of multiplication is division. So what number are you going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide from both sides? You're going to divide negative 8 on both sides. And the way I'm going to show that, again, is with this division bar. So I'm going to divide the left-hand side by negative 8, and I'm going to divide the right side by negative 8. Negative 8 divided by negative 8 cancels out, and you're just left with the y here. So y equals 24 divided by negative 8. Remember, since we have opposite signs, we have a positive sign and a negative sign, that means we know the answer is going to be negative, and 24 divided by 8 is 3. And we can go back and check this by substituting in -3 up here in this equation for y. So -8 times -3 is equal to 24. -8 times -3, since we have the same signs here and we're multiplying, we know that our answer is going to be positive, and 8 times 3 is 24. I'm going to bring the rest of this down. This is a true statement. 24 is equal to 24, so that means that our answer right here, y equals -3, is the answer to this equation. One more before we get to the tortoise question. We can't do this one. I didn't write a variable in. Let's skip right to the tortoise question then. So a tortoise is one of the slowest land animals, reaching an average top speed of about 0.25 miles per hour. That's not very fast. It's a quarter of a mile an hour. At this speed, how long will it take a tortoise to travel 1.5 miles? So we're going to use a formula. Remember I told you our vocabulary word today for this lesson was formula? And a formula is an equation that shows a relationship among certain quantities. In other words, it's some sort of equation that we can use every single time and has been determined to be true. And the formula that we're going to use today is distance, d, equals speed times time. So if you know two of these variables, distance, speed, or time, you can solve for the third one. So let's take a look and see what information is given to us here. We know that the tortoise is one of the slowest land animals. Nothing there that's going to really help us. Reaching an average top speed of about 25 miles per hour. This 25 miles per hour looks pretty important. That tells us the speed at which the turtle travels. At this speed, how long will it take the tortoise to travel 1.5 miles? Right here, 1.5 miles. That's the distance that the tortoise will travel. So this is d right here, and this is the speed. And right here, how long will it take? That is the time, and that is our question. That's the thing we don't know. So d equals 1.5 miles, and s equals 0.25 miles per hour, and t, we don't know. We're going to figure that out. What we're going to do is we're going to substitute the numbers that we have here into this equation here. So d is going to be 1.5 is equal to s, which is 0.25, and t we don't know, so I'm just going to leave that as t. So now I'm going to go back to those three questions. What number is on the same side as the variable? 0.25 is on the same side as the variable. What operation is going on and what is the opposite of it? Well, multiplication is going on because there's no operation sign between these two, and the opposite of multiplication is division. And the final question, so what number are you going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide from both sides? You're going to divide 0.25 on both sides. And we're going to show that with a fraction bar or a division bar. .25 divided by 0.25, they cancel out, so the only thing we're left with on the right side of the equal sign is a t, equals 1.25 divided by 0.25. If you thought about it, if you have $1.50, how many quarters are in $1.50? Well, there's 4 quarters in $1, and there's 2 quarters in 50 cents. So the 4 plus the 2 makes 6. And if you wanted to, you could get your calculator out to figure that out. So that means 6 equals t. And we need to make sure that we label our answer 6 what? 6 elephants, 6 rhinos, 6 what? Well, remember our original question was how long will it take? It's going to take the tortoise 6 hours. And the way that I know hours is because our speed was listed in miles per hour. So that means it's going to take the tortoise 6 hours to travel 1.5 miles. Now I'm pretty thankful I don't travel that slow, or else I would never get anywhere. That's all there is to solving multiplication equations. Remember, ask yourself the 3 questions, and remember I also said that this is one of the many methods in solving equations. It's the one that I found to be most successful with students. Just ask yourself those 3 questions and you should be able to get through any sort of multiplication problem.